So I've got enough on my plate, and then you're telling me Jose's come back with no clothes on. Everyone else in my life thought I was definitely going to fail.
Sounds so rubbish.
Well, that's why we're different people. We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long. In this episode of the Business Anchors podcast, we're going to be talking about what keeps me up at night, our worst experiences we've ever had at work, and we'll be discussing how our business has been affected by the dreaded COVID-19. Plus, I'm going to be struggling a bit because I haven't got my contact lenses in, so I can't really read my notes. So that'll be fun as well.
That'll be fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of random stuff this episode, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, you came up with this idea of basically...
It's a really unique concept where we do a Q&A.
Yeah, really unique. We're going to ask each other questions and answer them.
But I do think it's going to bring some interesting... We've thought about sort of different questions we can ask each other that are going to actually provide value and be interesting to listen to, hopefully.
Yeah, I do. Some of the episodes have been more like niche and specific into a specific area. But I think this is
a whole variety.
It's more general, but we've obviously thought about the questions that we get asked a lot and the questions that people in business generally ask a lot and want to know the answers for, and just some random questions about us and our experience as well, really.
Yeah.
But hopefully it'll be good. If not, don't leave us a review. Lol. So I'm supposed to be asking the first question, aren't I?
Are you? Go ahead.
So the first one. What is the first one? Right. So
Lloyd.
No, I was just
well prepared, Lloyd.
Oh, I know I am prepared, but I just thought we've got some really specific businessy ones, some more general ones, some more personal ones. But I thought this one's really interesting to me because I thought it does challenge something that we do openly with the world. So if Knowlton is so great at marketing, why don't we guarantee results?
That is a really good question.
I know.
Because you came up with it. It is a good question, and through experience, we don't guarantee results because from running different campaigns, there's usually a commitment from both parties, both us and our clients, to ensure that we deliver results. So, for example, with some campaigns, we work with clients and they produce some of the content, we produce some of the content, and we're working sort of as a team. So we don't want to guarantee results because if they don't deliver on their part, and we do, we've had experiences where that's happened and it kind of hasn't worked as well as it could have. Yeah,
I think it's a really good question because I actually think if I was working
Why don't we?
With a marketing agency, I do think that I would be, if every marketing agency pitches these brilliant things that they could achieve if they work with you in this stuff. So I do think it's a good question of, okay, well, how about we pay you if you get those results, and if you don't, we pay you less or we don't pay you. That does make sense. But like you said, I think there is logic behind that actually as a marketing agency and your marketing partner, however we're working with you, we don't have control of everything that is going to affect the results. And I think
there's
that's
a lot
where
of variables,
it's hard.
Isn't there? There's a lot of, like say you're working with a new startup, which they've got this new widget or this new invention that's like a cup that is really cool and stirs itself and it's got an iPhone on it or something, but that's a really rubbish example. But say you're working with a new startup with this new product, you don't know just as well as the inventors don't know if that's going to be a success because it's not a proven formula. I guess for us, you have more confidence in marketing for a brand when you know they've got a formula that works already. Yeah. When they've got a proven sales process and they're already selling stuff, that's much less of a risk than...
Yeah, it's easier to make predictions, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you've got previous data to work on and say, okay, that's what you've done before with what you've done before. And so if we do these, we predict these improvements and this much more.
And I think for us, when we're pitching and when we're speaking to clients, we demonstrate the results we've achieved for other similar brands to help sort of put their mind at ease and to manage risk for them so that they can see, they've worked with XYZ brand and delivered XYZ results, and they can see how we've delivered those creative campaigns, and then that's how we sort of put them at ease as to generating them results as well.
I also think when you're looking for someone to work with, and this isn't just for marketing agencies, this is for lots of different types of B2B businesses you can work with. When people guarantee results, I would look at it critically. So they're guaranteeing those results as a tool to basically make the sell easier. So to get you as a client easier. And I think I say a lot. I've only had experience with a couple of these, but there are a lot of caveats in that guarantee. So they're a big marketing thing, and the thing they'll say in the pitches, we guarantee these results. But when you look into the details, there are so many things that have to be done. So like we were saying, there'll be caveats in there. Also, as a client, if you don't stick to these 20 deadlines in the next 10 days, exactly to that minute, we can't guarantee the results because you might not have provided the information on time. So there's usually so many things that it's unlikely that you would get that pay. You wouldn't have to pay at the end of it. So I would just look at it critically because I do think it's I think it's a good marketing strategy, because if someone said to me they guarantee results, I would be much more likely to consider using them. But there are potential.
I'd also be asking what results. We could guarantee results, but it's like you haven't been specific about it. Like in most cases, if you spend enough money, you can get some results. But it's the companies that say we guarantee you these results. What are the results?
Should we say results more?
Results.
Interesting. So we don't guarantee results, but you will get them. So that's good, isn't it?
So okay, I've got a question for you, Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of, we've worked on some interesting projects and campaigns over the last 6 years, and some have been more challenging than others.
Yep.
I want to know, what is the most challenging project you or we have ever worked on?
Yep.
And why it was challenging.
Okay.
And I want you to make this a really interesting answer so everyone listening loves it.
Okay. I'll guarantee to tell you the first bit, and I will not guarantee the results on that second part of the question.
Great.
Because it might not be interesting.
Go on, let's just hear you rambling on then.
Yeah, I'll have a quick ramble about a project. It was something at the end of last year, a big video campaign for an electronics brand we were working with. I think what made it the most challenging was the amount of moving parts, basically. I think because it was one of the biggest projects we've worked on when it comes to video production, there were different actors involved. We had to we actually built a set in-house downstairs in the building that we've got here. We had a relatively new staff member that was working with me mainly on it, which was another challenge. The client was very keen to be involved on every detail, which is fair enough, but that creates another challenge.
More pressure as well.
Yeah. And because it was kind of an electronics/beauty brand, everything on the video, everyone in the video had to look a very specific way to ensure that it was right for their brand. So I think that was definitely the most challenging. Like I said, the more moving parts there are, the more things that could potentially be out of your control, and I think that makes it more challenging. But I'm really happy, actually. The results we got, in the end, the results we got for the campaign were brilliant, and I was really happy with the process we went through and how we executed the project.
I also think they wanted everything done yesterday as well. So when they approached us, like, it was a big campaign that we'd normally have quite a lot of planning time. They were sort of like, we're like, when do you want in terms of the project timeline, when do you want it done? And they were sort of like, like next week, or we were like, we've got a load of other projects on. We need to. So we really had to utilise the different skills of our team, and we are a small team. So we had one of the team sourcing actors, going through tapes that they'd done to audition for the roles and communicating with them. Also purchasing things for the sets. We had, at one point we had a van collecting some really heavy furniture. So like me and our videographer that we had, that our skills aren't moving things in vans, but you have to just get that sort of thing done. And we were going around second-hand shops in the local area to source stuff for the set. So I think that was a real challenge, and the production side of it was definitely the biggest challenge I've had in this business. But I am really happy. We've recently employed someone who's behind the camera, Lauren, who in future I think really has good skills in the kind of production side of things. So I think I'll have more
assistance on that side in future projects. So that'll be exciting. But
Good.
that was the biggest challenge, purely I think because of the moving parts. So many things outside of our control, or kind of almost outside of our control, that could go wrong. And we made it harder for ourselves because we wanted to be really creative and get the results. We had water bombs involved in the shoot, fire extinguisher, special effects that we had to pretend that there were laser beams shooting out of an electronic device when there wasn't. All these sort of things. So we pushed ourselves, which is why we did so well with the results. But definitely
good answer.
Thanks, mate.
May not have been that interesting, but it was.
I did answer it though, didn't I? So I've now got a question for you, because this is how this is working. We ask each other questions. It's really a unique concept.
Go on.
I was trying to think of a good link, but I don't think I can think of one in time.
Okay.
So here's the question.
Okay.
How can brands get a better ROI, aka return on investment, from their marketing?
Brilliant question, Lloyd. And one that a lot of marketers and business owners are thinking, because I think a lot of marketers and business owners are doing marketing stuff and investing time and resources in marketing, and we all want to get more back in return. So I think the first real point to make is to look at what you're currently doing and figure out what your return on investment is for each of those different marketing activities. So a lot of people marketing right now are just investing in video campaigns, in doing marketing activities on their website, on social media, but they don't actually know the return on investment they're getting.
I also find, this may be just characters like me, but putting a little spreadsheet together and working out that return on investment on the different areas and then kind of getting a clear picture for the first time, that really gets me excited.
Yeah.
I'm a really interesting guy. I love that sort of thing.
You're really cool, Lloyd. But no, figuring out, and also if you're kind of listening to this thinking, don't know what return on investment I get in producing videos, or I don't know how to work that out, then you really need to be figuring that out. Because if, as I mentioned, if you're just doing marketing activities hoping for the best, it's really not a good place to be. So you need to outline what results you want to make, and then figure out a way of tracking those results. Yeah,
I was going to say it's working, because this could be quite a long process to start getting that data, because at the moment you may have no way of tracking things. So firstly, it's okay, I'm doing this activity. How could I possibly track that? So it could be, people that find me from this area, they're going to have this voucher code that they quote, so I know that they found me from that radio
or anyone
ad.
That calls up, I'm going to ask where they saw us.
And so it may be a longer process than you can just implement this today, because you have to start collecting that data. But
we spoke, nice. And also we kind of spoke about this in a recent marketing sketch we did. We do a lot of sort of funny marketing sketches that we publish on LinkedIn and other social platforms.
Funny in our opinion.
And the recent one was kind of taking the mick out of this business owner that just uses this marketing person for 12 years because they've always... Shaggenden, he's got... Yeah, everyone loves shaggers.
Pardon?
But yeah, watch it if you haven't seen that. But yeah, so that's the first thing. I'll audit and understand the return on investment you're currently getting. Once you understand that data, you'll probably interestingly find that a variety of marketing activities you're doing aren't actually generating a good return on investment. You'll be thinking, we're paying £1,000 a month to publish ads in this magazine, and no one is calling up with the voucher code, or So once you understand that, scale down the marketing activities that aren't generating a good return on investment. But in addition, start to research and try and test new, different marketing channels, marketing approaches. And we spoke about this in the last podcast episode about testing being so important. Like this podcast is a test for us to see how this impacts our business growth. So it's really important to start testing those new, different, unique approaches and again, measure the performance. And ultimately, at the end, you'll start to realize certain marketing activities provide a good return on investment and certain ones don't. And continue that momentum of trying and testing new approaches and channels and doing more of the stuff that works and less of the stuff that doesn't work. I think that's so simple, but...
I was going to say, it sounds so simple when you say that. When you think of it, like, why do we not do that more?
Yeah.
Or less?
Moving swiftly on, Lloyd, What keeps you up at night?
What keeps me up at night? Mainly a tiny blue light next to my bed on the charging stand for the Hoover that we have.
I mean, not that kind of keeps you up at night. What do you think about?
No, that keeps me up at night. And my wife insists that that's where the charger for it is. And also, it's one of those automatic ones. Have you seen?
I've seen it at your house.
It's like a different, not a Roomba. They're like the expensive ones.
It's one of those ones that it doesn't actually clean the floor, but you just think you're cool because you've got an automatic robot Hoover.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was a great idea until it's got an automatic timer, and Sarah, my wife, doesn't quite know how to work that timer. So what we have is the Hoover lottery. So it's right next to my bed, and at any point, any night, it could just turn on.
Oh, does it work at night as well?
Yep. And Sarah doesn't know how she turns the timer on, how she changes the time.
That would scare the shit out of me if you were like asleep in bed.
You know, if you get woken up like when you're fully asleep at night and your heart's racing. Yeah. I get that, I reckon, once a week, but it's a complete lottery. Could be a Saturday night at midnight. It could be Tuesday, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So that's what keeps me up at night. But other than that, other than the Hoover lottery,
just one point. Why don't you put a bit of blue tack over the light first of all to solve that problem?
Because then I couldn't sort of blame Sarah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. But what actually keeps me up at night, as in,
because you're a big thinker, you think about a lot of stuff, don't you? Knowing you.
I used to be kept up at night a lot, being stressed by various things at work in my old job, and sometimes even since I started the business. However, I've definitely got better now at realizing I'm stressed and trying to stop that happening. And I haven't felt stressed for a long time now. But
we do talk about this, don't we? Because there has been times in the business when either of us have sort of been stressed, and it's kind of when you've got too much to do and not enough time to do it.
That was exactly my point, because we discussed this before. Now the only time I'm kept up at night is...
Oh, is that actually...
It's exactly that. So I've got too much to do in too little time, because that's the only thing to me now that I've realised is impossible to overcome. Any other challenge in our business and in my personal life, I know if you put the time and effort in, you can find a solution. But if you don't have enough time to find those solutions, that's when I now know that I get stressed. And I just now I think we're better at handling this together as business partners. Yeah. We now, if one of us hasn't got enough time or we're feeling stressed, we say to the other one, right, I feel like I haven't got enough time.
For example,
we need to...
the other week I realised you had quite a lot on your plate and seemed a little bit more stressed than normal, and we sat down and said, right, let's look at the calendar, let's look at what you've got to do, and I plan to do some of those things for you, but I actually didn't do them in the end because...
classic Dan. He said, don't worry, Lloyd, I'll do those things for you.
Something got pushed back, and then you did have the
time.
And
then Dan just... After I was supposed to do them, Dan just said, I can't do that now, you've got to do them. So, cheers, mate.
Not that.
But yeah, that's what keeps me up at night, and thankfully that happens.
Time management has helped us so much reduce stress, hasn't it? And we've actually created a bit of content sharing our time management process on our YouTube channel. You should watch.
You should. YouTube. Knowlton. I don't know why I'm just saying those words. It's pretty weird.
Come on, Lloyd. Come at me with a question. What you got for me?
Okay. I am coming at you with a question. What job would you do if you didn't have your own business?
Ooh. I think... it's a difficult one. We always kind of talk about this and say, because we really enjoy what we're doing now, we always sort of say, imagine if we were doing what we used to do and working in a company and that sort of thing. But thinking about what I think I'd be, and I'm going to say what I'd like to be doing or what I'd work hard to do, would be probably working in like a social platform like Facebook or Twitter, or doing some kind of, I reckon I'd be doing actually a more of a sales-ish role. Yeah. I think I love the grind and the like getting business in and meeting new people. So it would have to be something I'm passionate about, and social media and content marketing we love. So working in a social media platform as the head of sales and marketing.
Cool.
I think. What about you? I'd be interested to know. Would you just be working in a shop or something?
It would. Well, actually, say that. I think I've realised my skill set is probably managing people and processes.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, that sounds so. But I've realised I really like working with nice people. And so I would quite happily be a manager of people in some sort of business. But really.
You're joking what you. Really?
Yeah.
That sounds so rubbish.
Well, that's why we're different people. Is that right? But what I'd really like to do, I think, actually, I was reflecting on this recently, actually, is something creative. I would, like, when I was 15, I wanted to be an actor. Mm-hmm. And I think, to be honest, now, I would absolutely love to do something like that, something creative.
That was when you had to choose drama or business.
Yeah.
And didn't Dad say, you're not choosing drama or something?
GCSEs. I was like, Dad, I'm doing drama. And he said, oh, can you do that and business studies? And I said, no, you have to choose one or the other. And he said, you're not doing drama. But,
and then you did your...
Yeah.
Did you say, no, I'm going to do drama?
Yeah. I just did it, didn't I? I mean, on reflection now, running a business, you could argue that a business studies qualification could have helped more than a drama
But
GCSE.
I've got a caveat to that. I think your creative script writing and just funny creative approach to our marketing could have a lot to do with your sort of drama and doing all your drama-y stuff.
Are you listening, Dad? Good decision, wasn't it?
No, but I think, do you agree with that or not?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. I think pushing myself, I never would have thought that would help in business at the time. I just thought, I would have thought, I don't want to be in business. I want to be on stage.
I want to be a star.
I want to be a star. But actually, yeah, I do agree. The kind of script writing side and creative side, I was pushed down that path doing that kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, I didn't do any of the coursework and only did the practical, so I only got a C, so that wasn't great. Yeah. But a C without doing half of the work, probably it's quite good, isn't it?
Well done, Lloyd.
Yeah, terrible work ethic. But
what was it we said? Randomly, our mum just sent us a picture of old reports from our school and stuff, and the thing, what was it you said in all of your reports? It was huge potential that he doesn't reach. Or something like that.
A little bit. Oh, Lloyd has got so much potential, but he just seems quite happy looking out the window or chatting with his friends. I think my main negative as a child was I was so happy that I didn't feel the need to do anything. I think, well, this is brilliant. I don't need to work harder than this. And I also, in where we live, we have the test when you're in year 6 at school.
Was it 11 plus? It was called 11
Kent test. And basically, we kept looking around all these schools where you, like high schools, you go if you fail the test. And I was kind of questioning it in my brain, thinking, why are we going here? Because I was thinking, I'm definitely going to pass. Now looking back, I realised because everyone else in my life thought I was definitely going to fail. And I got like 1 mark off full marks for one of the tests.
Did you?
Yeah. But yeah, so it's weird. When I needed to, when I was a kid, I did the work. But yeah.
Interesting.
Luckily, my work ethic has improved.
Slightly,
yeah. Right, while we're here, as if we're going. While we're here,
no, we're still here.
Yeah, no, we're actually still here recording the podcast. Last week we asked you to review the podcast and sneak in the word whale, which
why was that, Lloyd? Why the word whale?
We spoke about Dan filming a beached whale as our 3rd YouTube video or something, which is very weird, but I'm loving this new challenge of sneaking it in because people are a bit getting very creative.
I haven't read these.
I'll read some more at the end of the podcast, but one we've got from I didn't see his name. Rude Boy J. That sounds like the sort of username you created a few years ago and then hasn't
15.
changed. But cheers, Rude Boy. Keep me entertained while working from home, while sitting here eating, looking like a beached whale. Great advice, a great laugh, and looking forward to booking a strategy session with the lads.
Oh, thanks, Rude Boy J.
Thanks, Rude Boy J. That was good. But yeah, I'll read some more later. But you guys are getting very creative with these. Very good. Thank you. Keep them coming. Oh,
what about...
I was going to say, if you're listening to today's
podcast,
let's in your review, I want you to either include drama or business studies.
Oh, I like it.
Or if you get in both in your review without,
double points.
And it's still looking fairly normal, you get double points. Unless it's less than 5 stars, then you get 0 points. So probably don't do that.
Because you're rubbish.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. What is the main skill that Lloyd Knowlton has?
Oh, you're going to like this one, aren't you, Lloyd?
Well, it's just quite a good question to ask. How
So I
good
think
I am at stuff.
The first point to make is the how much better it is working with someone else that has the opposite set of skills. We literally said this the other day because it started out as it was just me doing stuff on my own, and then we've started working together, and
it's suddenly the standard of everything improved.
No, but honestly, looking back, like the things Lloyd does to contribute to the business now, I would hate to do. So it's so amazing having you with a different set of skills. So,
and I'm the same the other way.
Yeah. So the things that you contribute, first of all, forward thinking. I think you think a lot bigger. And, you know, we've spoken about this in a previous episode of you always asking why are we doing that and challenging the norm. I think you're constantly challenging the norm and asking why are we doing this? What's the bigger picture? Where are we heading? Where are we going to be in 10 years' time? And that sort of thing, which is a lot bigger thinking than I would usually think. So you're constantly, and you're making me think more like that as well. So now I'm even thinking more like that. So I think the way you're a lot more forward thinking, bigger picture thinking. Secondly, something we touched on.
Keep going. Saying good stuff about me.
I'm going to try and think of some negative stuff as well, don't worry. So secondly, HR and people management. So in my previous life, I was an assistant manager of a car rental branch, and I basically imploded and had a nervous breakdown because I was so stressed and hated my life so much.
I'm laughing while you hated your life. Listeners will just hear that in the background. Lovely support there. From
Yeah, thanks, Lloyd. And I think it was a lot to do with the stress that comes with managing a team of 9 people, staff, and just all of that stuff. And now you manage all of that in our business, and I don't need to think about that much. I contribute towards it, but you are really good with the team and that sort of thing. So HR and people
Lauren
management.
can add something in the edit if she disagrees.
Yeah. Something like, no, he's not. He's crap. Another thing, which touches on what we said before, you're an ideas man. So again, like Lloyd's reports that said he's got loads of potential. Lloyd's brilliant with ideas. He's got loads of great ideas, but I'm the one that sort of makes them come to fruition and makes them happen. So that's why we're a good team in that sense. Yeah,
I was. If you didn't mention that, I was going to mention it. I was actually speaking to our mum and dad yesterday.
Were you?
About this?
Go on.
And they were. This was very nice of our parents, but I think because we're unable to see people and things. So they're actually talking about their feelings, which our parents don't often do. They're just saying, "Oh, we're so proud of you two that you work together so well." And
that's so nice.
I actually
they didn't tell me that.
Yeah, no. Obviously, they mainly were talking about me, but, and I did say they were saying about how well we work together and how we're different. And I said, I have to admit, I think like you said, think about the big picture and long-term planning and things, and so many ideas and good ideas I bring to the table. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at that. I will admit that. But I would do absolutely nothing with the ideas if it wasn't for Dan. So I would constantly be thinking of these world-changing ideas. Yeah. And things we could do and different ways we could work. But without Dan, absolutely none of it would get done. So I think you really do motivate me to actually do anything that I think about. And I think that's why without either one of us, we'd be so much shitter. So that's good.
There was one more thing.
Yep.
One more that I think you bring. Not that I don't bring it, but and I did. It was kindness. In a way that you think you're always thinking about how we can help people and how we can. I'm much more sort of business focused, and you bring in the how can we make a more positive impact on the world and do charity stuff and that kind of thing, which I think is a really good coming from two ends. Because I think if I wasn't here, you'd just do charity work all day, and we'd lose lots of money. And it wouldn't be feasible. Whereas if because it's both of us, I mean, I don't think I would just purely do charity work and the business would fail. But I do think it's a good balance between us. The fact that you are very thinking about profit and income and that kind of thing is the first thing, and I'm thinking more about people and that kind of thing, and the balance between them both. Like you said. The business would fail if I just kept going, should we offer all the team another pay rise next week? And you're like, well, we did that last week. Obviously, it would get to a stage where that wouldn't work. So it's, definitely a good balance. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to ask you something now because again, this is how it's working, Lloyd. You know, we get on really well, but who knows what could happen in the future? I'm wondering, in the future, would you ever leave the business, and if so, why?
Yeah, definitely. If something better came along.
Oh, thanks.
If someone offered me more money.
Yeah.
If a more influential marketer wanted me to join forces.
Oh, that's really nice of you,
Just
Lloyd.
anything like that.
Oh, now I know.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's just a joke. It's just brilliant. No, in reality, I think potentially we could step away from the business in the future. And I think in, like a decade, that could be something very likely that we could consider. But it would be if we both have decided that there's something more exciting for us to move on to.
I think we've spoken about this, haven't we? Sort of, we've got our 2030 plan, which is our end point that we're aiming towards, and who knows, after that we could be doing lots of random stuff. Yeah. And
I think. Oh, I just said I think and then forgot what I was thinking. I've been doing this a lot recently, haven't I?
I'll continue.
I think
that was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think after
I think
we've kind of said, like, we both really enjoy making content and creating funny videos and that sort of thing. Imagine if we got to a point where we just could come into work and think, what cool, creative, fun video are we going to create today? And that just led to... Well, I think we're aiming towards doing... Well, we're doing this for brands, which is what we love doing as well. Yeah. So who knows what we could do after this. We were even considering starting a... plant selling business. What did you say? A seed subscription business.
Don't tell them.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No,
Lloyd's really into
but
gardening.
This again,
stuff.
like we said about me with ideas and stuff. So I, when this whole pandemic started, and we thought we might be quieter in the business, I actually, rather than focus on our business, just wanted to start another business alongside ours to work on, about a subscription to grow, and then to get stuff sent to you, seeds and instruction stuff to grow your own veg.
And then we spoke about it, and we realised there was a shortage of seeds in the world. So it was a completely ridiculous idea.
No, that was a short-term issue. There's plenty of seeds now. But like most of my ideas, my dad and Dan shot me down, and then normally in 2 years they realise it was a good idea, and then we do it. So 2022, seed subscription.
Seeds are us. Yeah, coming your way.
Yeah. Right.
I think we could do a whole episode on all this shit. All the good ideas you've come up with. That.
Do you say the shit ideas?
Well, no, you do come up with bad ones as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's do that.
Well, this is a good idea I came up with to ask you.
Go on.
Why do businesses choose to work with Knowlton?
God, what a great transition into this question, Lloyd. So I was thinking about this, and I don't know if you remember, a little while ago, I actually spoke to one of our most credible sort of flagship clients who we've got a really good relationship with, and I asked the marketing manager why they worked with us, or why they chose to work with us over other agencies. And we've got a really good relationship, and he can be really honest with me. And he said some interesting things, so I'm going to share them with you, Lloyd. I don't know if I remember.
Please do.
So he said a couple of things, and some of them were more obvious than others. So the first thing, which I think is kind of obvious, was he said you had a proven track record of results for other brands doing what you say you do, which I know that sounds so basic, but I remember when we started and when we were sort of doing some form of pitch to a customer. I wouldn't say it was a pitch, because we were probably just meeting them saying, we could do this good stuff for you, and we weren't going with any evidence showing results that we've achieved before. He said, he could look at, we could talk about, this is what we could do for you, and we actually could show evidence of other things we've done. So that was the first core reason, which kind of makes sense, really. The second thing he said was about us being so good to work with. So like making his life easier in terms of communication, in terms of clearly managing his expectations of the timeline for projects and things, which again sounds simple, but I wouldn't have even thought of that. For us, we ideally want to attract marketers from brands who are in marketing teams, and I guess thinking of their objectives, they want their life to be easier. They want to, when working with an agency, they want to get results. They want to look good to their managers. And I think this touched on that point of the Agency Phonics podcast, which we both have sort of been listening to. And the Agency Nomics book that you read, which I've just ordered. And you said this to me as well, that you should always be thinking about the motivations of the people within the company that you want to work with. So for example, if we want to attract marketing managers from brands, some of them want to look good to their managers. Some of them want to win awards, so they want you to help them do that. And these people have different motivations, so it's so important to understand what their motivations are and then shape your offering around helping them.
Yeah, I completely agree, because not every business is the same, and not every person you're dealing with or people you're dealing with are the same. And we've definitely dealt with clients with completely different things that they want. Some literally, you're in there to make their life easier, and kind of the least you're seen or heard is better. It's like, just do a brilliant job over there and keep us updated, but go and do that, and they're happy for you to do that. And some, like you said, it's more than that. It's ongoing support, or it's actually doing educating I said that strangely educating them, so that they can then go to their bosses and say, I've actually learned about this and this, and we can take it in this direction. And being that kind of forward thinking for them and passing that knowledge on. And some, like you said, it's more about proving to their bosses or the wider team, look, we're winning these awards and we're doing this and this.
I think thinking of another sort of client we've worked with, a motivation was to show innovation in their marketing approach. So our marketing approach is quite innovative in the way we produce entertaining content that sells stuff. It's not just your traditional, here's a product and you can do this. It's really creative and entertaining. And whenever I speak to the board of this company, the phrase they keep repeating is, this is such a unique approach. And they're all, they're telling their friends, look at this cool thing we're doing that no one else in the industry is doing. I think being proud of that, rather than just doing something that all other marketers will be doing.
I think that's a nice thing to end that question on there. That was good answer, Dan Knowlton.
Okay, I've got another question for you, Lloyd. This would be an interesting one. What is the worst experience you've ever had at work? Well, I guess it's how we define worst. Just what have you absolutely hated?
Well, one experience. So my worst experiences aren't in this role.
Oh, okay.
Because my work life has improved since, because we have far more control in our own business, I think. But previously, I was my worst experience was probably running a summer school for foreign students and working from 6 a.m. till midnight for 7 weeks.
I remember how stressed you were then.
I think we were just so understaffed, and the staff we had weren't as capable as they could have been, that I just had to work 2 people's jobs, really. So I think that was not nice to get, but I'm happy I got through that. But that was a terrible experience.
You must have learnt a lot from that.
Yeah, I definitely learned a lot. And a lot, when you learn, occasionally you can learn rather than from, I'm seeing these people do this really good stuff, to this is being done terribly. How would I do it next time?
Yeah.
But also because child welfare was involved. There were children of
got a lot of
10, 11, 12 years old. So it was kind of like, if we get this wrong, it'd be horrible to think a child could go missing or something. Yeah. But so that's obviously quite stressful.
I just thought,
work nearly all of your life and don't sleep, and also there's pressure you could lose someone's child.
I just thought of something really. Sorry, Lloyd.
Just laughing at losing children.
No, story. Didn't your friends prank you and pretend that they were? Please tell this story, because.
Yeah. So at the time that I'm having this terrible time and awake all the hours, I had an emergency phone for, just like I was saying, if a child got lost when we were taking them on a trip to London or something, I'd have this emergency phone.
Our child's missing, help.
And so my friends obviously thought, great idea, let's phone that emergency phone and pretend to be a host family that this student's staying with. And they were going, Jose didn't come in last night. And I was really very professionally worrying, but thinking, okay, right, when did you last hear from Jose? Getting all these details, and then so I was panicking, obviously thinking, this is a terrible situation. This 13-year-old Spanish kid's gone missing. And then they called back going, he's just walked back in the house with nothing on except his shoes. And I don't know if he's drunk or on drugs or something. And I was like, oh my God, what has happened? They said he just came in naked other than his shoes. And I was trying to do...
You believe this whole thing, didn't you?
I'm just trying to think. I was probably 20 at the time as well. So not hugely experienced or mature. Well, you know.
How's this 13-year-old boy?
So he's turned up in just his shoes. You know what? They were going, what should we do? He's turned up with no clothes on except his shoes. He's just sat on the sofa in just shoes. And then I hung up. And kind of saying, well, I'll and then I called back and said, right, I'm just to let you know, I'm going to call the police now because I think it's serious. And then obviously they said, don't, Lloyd, because it's us. And I was like, you. So I've got enough on my plate. And then you're telling me Jose's come back with no clothes on. He's a 14-year-old boy. Yeah, so that was quite stressful, that job. But cheers, guys, if you are listening.
That is a horrible prank.
Yeah, that was a really horrible prank. But yeah, within that job, the only other thing that was really bad is in another role at that place. And I think this is relevant for all people, either managing people or being managed, to think about. I was in a role where I had a lot of responsibility, but I wasn't given the authority to make the changes needed to do a good job. So I had loads of pressure on me, but I had to ask my boss to do anything, basically. And so... that was really a horrible situation to be in because I was thinking, I have to get these results. But also, when I keep saying to the boss, we need to do this, and this to get these results, he was saying, no, I'd prefer you to do it like this. And then I was thinking, but I can't get the results if I do it like that. So I think if you are managing people, bear that in mind. If there's pressure on one of your employees and you keep telling them to do it in a certain way and they're not getting the results, do try and be open to their, because that was a really horrible situation to be in. One
more point. One more different story. I remember when we did a video shoot and we basically had all these moving parts where we'd booked in all these people and acts and things to come in as part of this video shoot, and literally like the morning of the video shoot, Lloyd just, I don't know what was wrong with you, but you were all achy and you had a massive headache and you literally the most ill I've ever seen you in my life.
I felt like this was before the COVID era, but I felt like I had flu symptoms basically. I was so achy and I felt like I just had no energy.
And all these people were booked in to come for this video shoot.
And people for the shoot and all this stuff. And I was calling Dan at like 6 a.m. saying, I don't know if I can do it. And Dan was kind of like, well, you are going to bloody do it.
We tried to ring round for help.
Yeah, we tried to get help from even like competitive agencies that we knew we had relationships,
and no one would help us. So Lloyd,
but obviously, surprisingly, when you call your competitors at 6 a.m. saying, "Can you help us out?" they don't manage to get you help by 8 a.m. when the shoot's happening. So I just basically we agreed I'd go and I'd just try and do stuff. And we sort of said, right, if this goes wrong, we're just going to have to not charge this client for this work. If I suddenly faint and can't work on it.
I'm just feeding you water and snacks throughout the day.
Yeah,
just
Dan was
you
basically like, I'll just come with you and basically be your assistant and just tell me to do anything. So I was just kind of in the corner like, move that camera over there. Can you just carry those lights over there? Yeah, cheers, Dan.
Yeah, you look to stay.
And that was one, in this business, I think that was the hardest day to get through because that was like
you just slept all the way home, didn't you?
Yeah,
in the car?
All the effort I could muster, I had to just to be a normal person.
Try to act normal, yeah.
But I was really happy I got through that. But oh god, that was horrible. Yeah.
Cool. I reckon we should round it off there.
Okay. Not going to do the last question. Or?
I think we could save it for the next one.
Oh, I like what you've done there.
I think that's a really good question that we'll save for the next episode.
Oh, so okay. Oh, intriguing. So yeah, next episode we're going to have a similar one. We've got a lot more questions. I'd say even more interesting questions we've saved for the next one. So all the best bits. You better listen to episode 9. It's going to be so good. But please do, if you've enjoyed this, please do leave us a review, or just if you haven't enjoyed it, give us some feedback. If there's some different stuff you want involved, or that kind of thing, we'd be happy to hear. But don't forget, we would love you to leave a review containing the word business studies or drama. But the key is you have to write your review in a way, if someone else read it, they wouldn't know that we've asked you to include those words. So that's your challenge. And I'm going to read out one more that we had from last week, including the word whale. This is very good. What a fantastic podcast. An enjoyable listen at the antics of the Knowlton brothers, who I have to be honest, I thought were going to be a couple of vermin. However, with the fantastic advice, I feel they will help me turn my business from a beached whale to a roaring success. Funny stories, great advice, fantastic entertainment. Thanks, Ben. Oh, I think that might be a lack of punctuation. That might be thanks, Ben.
I thought you were saying thanks to Ben.
No. He's put thanks, Ben, at the end of it. He's just thanking himself for a brilliant review. Well, I'd like to say thanks, Ben, and we'll see you in episode 9.
See you then.